there are more roadblocks because of the state of emergency that was declared after the attacks by Boko Haram. And the opening part of the story is when me and my guide, we were entering Chibok. We're approaching Chibok and we passed through these checkpoints. So this is us approaching Chibok. Ahead of us was the last checkpoint before Chibok. This was the most important checkpoint of all. The soldiers here would determine whether I got to enter Chibok or not. Vehicles coming in or going out were given a special pass, which they must present to the soldiers. Traders bringing supplies from neighboring towns must have an inventory listing every single item they carried. Since the kidnapping of over 276 schoolgirls in April 2014 and the subsequent media focus on the families of the kidnapped girls, the government had placed the town on lockdown. Journalists in particular were persona non grata. I was told of a British reporter who came as a guest of the wife of a local pastor and was turned back at this checkpoint. The Chibok native, Reverend Titus Pona, chairman of the Christian Association of Nigeria, Borno State chapter, had promised that a local pastor would wait for me at the checkpoint and take me in as his guest. When I got the pastor on the phone, he made excuses and said he couldn't meet me. Now my fate rested on the mood of the soldiers. Abbas, whose hometown, Bassa, was only about 30 minutes from Chibok, said he had lots of friends here and concocted a new story. We were coming from Lassa to visit his friends, one of whom had just gotten married, and there was a taciturn marker of the JTF as backup if the new story failed. And so, once more, we got out of the car and approached the soldiers who were seated under a giant tamarind tree by the roadside. With them were 3 civilian JTF members with their Dane guns and knives tied on ropes around their waists. Michael identified himself and handed over his ID card. Next, Abbas handed over his driver's license and mentioned the name of his friends who we were ostensibly visiting. The soldier gave a non-committal nod and turned to me. I handed over my state of Virginia driver's license. America, he said. I'm Nigerian, I said, but I live in America. Mr. Americana, he said. Actually, it's more like Nigeriana, I said, not sure where this was going. But he seemed suddenly to relax. The other soldiers were laughing and echoing, Americana. Now I noticed how young they were. None of them could have been over 25. They were just kids, sent here to fight a brutal enemy who relished capturing soldiers alive and slaughtering them like rams for propaganda videos. They were clustered around the one holding my driver's license, taking turns looking at it. The mood had lifted. So what do you do in America? I teach, I said. I'm a professor. Ah, Professor Americana. I laughed with them. Professor Americana, why not? He returned my license and waved us through. So that is my first visit to Chibok when